You're listening to Your Dental Marketing Department, your podcast source for dental marketing tips, strategies, and advice. Now here's your host, Jared Young.
Hi, this is Jared with Your Dental Marketing Department, the podcast source for all things dentistry, marketing, business, and growth related. Today we're going to talk a little bit about one specific advertising method. It'll be a pretty short show today. If you're not listening to it on the podcast and you're on your computer, you can also watch this as a video. If you're already watching the video, it's also available on iTunes as a podcast. So multiple medias for you to enjoy and derive some value from. Before we get to this week's topic, I want to talk a little bit about some cool new stuff.
Wow, that's really cool.
My cool new stuff this week is a company that's been around for a little while, and it's a phone system called Ringcentral. I recently switched over to Ringcentral. I have been using it just briefly so far, but I've tried a lot of different automated phone systems for multiple dental practices. And I've used probably about 4 or 5 different systems, and each one of them has their own flaws and their own strong points. They're either really expensive, they're really hard to use, they don't do everything you want them to do. There's always one aspect that just doesn't seem right to me. I recently found Ringcentral, and some of the things that I like about it are, one, it's really easy to use. You can figure it out. I had the whole thing set up. When I had my implementation call with the system and with the company, I only had one question. I had everything set up properly the first time. It was really intuitive and really easy to use. The other thing I like is that they have apps for it that make it easy to use on my phone. Now, a lot of times I need to make a change to the phone system on the fly. Maybe I'm on vacation, I forgot to set something. I want to go in and do it on my phone, and most phone systems aren't set up to do that. They might have Flash, and I can't use it on an iPhone, or it's just not a mobile-friendly interface, and so there's constant scrolling and zooming. Ringcentral has apps that I can make most of the changes I need to quickly and easily. The other thing I like about it is it simply works, and so I can set it up. I can have a system going for the auto receptionist, have it go to the right extensions and work properly, quickly, without a problem. It's just an easy system to use, something I really like. So if you're having some issues with your phone system in your practice, if you want to have sequential calling, what we do is we have it ring multiple office phones at one time, and then it forwards to a answering service if we're not available, or if you want to have it go to your cell phone, if somebody has an emergency, those types of things. It can do all of that for you, of course. You can easily upload your greetings. You can record them off of your phone or off your computer, or do a higher quality one and actually use a nice microphone. It's just a really easy system to use. And so it's something, if you're having some issues, if you've been thinking about switching, check out Ringcentral. You can find it online at ringcentral.com. So today I want to talk about bench ads. And this is probably something that most people aren't thinking about. How do I advertise my dental practice? Oh, I know. I'll put an ad on the back of a bus bench. But the reality is those can be really great sources of marketing for your practice. Now, if you haven't noticed before, when you're driving along and you see those bus benches, they always have ads on the back of the bench. If there's a bus station or shelter, there's always ads in the shelter, typically on the inside and on the outside of it. And of course, there's also ads on buses, on cabs, and everything else. For our emergency practice, we thought, bench ads might be a great demographic. We are targeting demographics that are typically a little bit lower income. And so we thought that using the bench ads might be a great way to do that. We've also seen some lawyers in our area use it extremely effectively. So they've been able to use bench ads as almost their primary source of marketing and get some great results out of it. Now, that being said, we bought some bench ads and we've been trying them for about a year. I think we have about 20 ads in San Diego for our emergency practice. The ads we spent a lot of time on, and they're very simple. They use red, white, and black as the colors. They're very large and easy to see. It says, basically, have a toothache, we can help, call this number. We wanted to keep it really simple. If you're driving by, we want you to be able to see it, not just when you're sitting at the bench. We want to make it really obvious and just basically, if you have a toothache, call this number. Now, we track it quite a bit. Do we get calls off of them? Occasionally, not very many. Now, I'm an equal opportunity marketer, and I believe that you should try everything. Right? Can bench ads work? Absolutely. Have they been a good investment for our emergency practice? Absolutely not. Now, does that mean that you should not try bench ads? No. Here is what I think you need to do if you want to try bench ads or any type of advertising like that, if it's on the side of a bus, on taxi cabs, any kind of other sign, with the exception of billboards. If you want to do any other kind of signage along roadways or vehicles, I think you need to really saturate the market to be able to do it. So you have to make a very large investment. The way most of these bench ads work is they're contracted out. You pay for an annual contract, maybe 6 months, typically pay a contract. The fee includes the printing of the signs. They'll even do the design work typically. So if you pay, let's say, $1,000 a month for your ads, that will include the cost of the sign. They make sure that the signs stay clean, not graffitied and all that. If you want to move them to another available bench, you can typically move your signs to another area. You won't get as a reprint. So if you don't like the ads that you created and you're tracking the results and you want to make a change, you're going to typically have to pay for that change. But let's say you sign a 12-month contract, you want to move those ads around, they do the initial design work, they do the printing, they do the installation, they make sure they're clean, and they'll move them for you. So it's a great all-in-one thing. You don't have to go to a lot of effort to create bench ads. Now, bus ads and taxi ads work much the same way. And what I found is if you don't really saturate the market, even if you just pick a small area, you want to be on pretty much every bench ad. Now, if you're driving down the road, have you ever noticed an ad on the back of a bench? Maybe a few times. Now, have you ever called one of those? Probably not. When you start to really recognize it is when you see them on every bench on a street. Every time you drive to work, you see 14 ads on those benches. They make you start to notice, you start to think about it. When the time comes, you'll probably call. The reality is our bench ads, even though they're on the same street, some of them are on the same street as our practice, more people call from our flashing sign on the side of the building than they do from the ads that are on the side of the road. Now, do they help? Yes, we do get calls. We've probably broken even for our return on investment. So we only have about 20 ads. In San Diego, there are thousands and thousands of benches that we could be advertising on. And that's probably one of the problems is had we gone with 200 ads instead of 20 ads and made that investment, we would have had a much better return. The problem is it wasn't worth the risk of investing in 200 ads at once. So yes, I do think they can be very successful. We've pretty much broken even on our ads to this point. When our contract comes up, we won't be renewing it because we're not interested in saturating the market with bench ads. We can get a much better return on investment through things like Google ads for our emergency dental practice. More people are searching actively when they have a toothache than passively, and bench ads are much more passive. They rely on somebody driving by. Google, if you type in emergency dentist San Diego, we show up organically, but we're also going to show up on the paid search ads. And when somebody has a toothache, they're typically going to actually type in emergency dentist or toothache dentist or after hours dentist because they want somebody to help them now. They're not going to wait until they happen to see an ad as they drive by somewhere. So if you're thinking about ads, about doing bench ads, yes, I do think they can work. Really think about your target market before you make that investment, and also figure out what your investment budget is. If you can't spend a lot of money on it, it might not be a good idea. I don't recommend you go and only put up 5 bench ads in an area that has 5,000 benches. They just won't be seen. So that brings us to our awesome tip this week.
Hey kid, how about a tip?
This week, the awesome tip is really figure out what your target market is and what their behavior is. For emergency dentistry, most people are going to actively search for an emergency dentist when they need that dentist. That's why passive marketing methods do not work nearly as well. Yes, they can help with branding, they can create additional awareness, and there is value in that. But if you have a limited budget and you're trying to attract patients, figure out what the behavior of that patient is, and then market in a way that is consistent with the behavior of the patient.
Wow, kid, that's a great tip.
I hope that helps. That's my marketing tip, my awesome tip this week. And I hope this short podcast, short video this week is of benefit. I know you may not be thinking about bench ads, but as you are creating a marketing plan for your practice, you want to have a list of all the different options available to you. Bench ads should definitely be on that list of options, and now you have some information and some feedback that'll help you rank the value of those ads as you move forward. Again, this is Jared with your dental marketing department. For more information, you can visit us online at dentalmarketingdepartment.com or bigdiastema.com for free marketing tips and advice.